Hi everybody, I just wanted to say thank you very much for inviting me to speak here. That's a pretty big build-up, Mark, so I hope I can live up to your expectations. It's actually really great that I've come after Wayne's presentation because I'm going to draw some comparisons from what he was talking about with the artwork to the opportunity that social media presents for non-profit groups. So, better make sure my slides are working. Okay, so today what I want to do is give you a bit of an introduction in the opportunities that social media presents for non-profit groups particularly, and then I'll walk through just some basic sort of technical stuff about how to decide what you want to be on social media for and what you might want to say while you're on social media. And then I want to finish, and this is where the references to the last presentation will come, with the biggest opportunity that exists for non-profit groups. It exists for everyone, but it's particularly powerful for non-profit groups, and most non-profit groups aren't actually using this, so you guys have a really great opportunity to get well ahead of the game and make an impact on social media. So Mark gave me a little bit of an introduction, but yes, I do work with non-profit groups and entrepreneurs who have a social conscious-based business to harness the power of social media through storytelling, content marketing, and understanding where their customers are. So everyone knows that social media exists. Obviously, most of you, I'm sure, have a Facebook page. You've had it personally for years, perhaps. You probably have one for your neighbourhood watch group that you're already using. You may be on other social media platforms like Instagram, possibly. I've seen a few groups come up. The reason I wanted to come and talk to you today is I've actually been creating and producing the social media for Neighbourhood Watch Australasia for more than a year now. So it's really timely to come and tell you what's working for us and what the opportunities are for you around that. So you can tell I'm not very technical. I have to keep checking if my slides are going forward. So this is food for thought. I want you to really think about this question right now. So you know why you do what you do. You know why you're in Neighbourhood Watch. You know what Neighbourhood Watch is about. But can you tell that in a way that makes anybody else give a damn? A total stranger who doesn't know anything about Neighbourhood Watch. And that's really the core of why you would be on social media in the first place, because it represents an amazing opportunity, probably the greatest opportunity in history, to actually connect with your audience, your potential audience, en masse without spending a great deal of money, often no money, which obviously for a non-profit is huge because non-profit groups don't tend to have million-dollar advertising budgets and marketing budgets, and so we can't get into, you know, a lot of fancy videos like the amazing video that was just presented. But when we come to social media, it gives us the best opportunity for all of the grassroots community organisations out there to actually harness the power to talk to their audience in a really large way. And so that presents some amazing opportunities. This question that I've posed was the best way to sum it up comes from one of my favourite TED Talks. I don't know if you guys watch TED Talks, but I absolutely love them. There's so many amazing people on there. There was a guy called Simon Sinek who did a TED Talk in 2009, and essentially the question or the statement that he came up with that really answers that question is, he was talking about businesses, but it definitely applies to social media or the opportunities for non-profit groups, and that is, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So if you can't make that connection and you're just busy telling people what you do, you're losing a huge opportunity to really harness the power of what social media has to offer you. So let's talk about, okay, where have my slides gone? There we go. Okay, so why social media? This is sort of a multi-pronged question. Why social media in general? I want to talk about the actual opportunities that exist or the benefits for you guys to be on social media in the first place. As I said, the main one is that it gives you an amazing opportunity to make a lot of connections quickly with people that you might not otherwise get to talk to. There is a bit of a shift now away from possibly, you know, the grassroots sort of meetings of cups of tea in houses. They still exist, but of course, you know, the population's getting younger and younger, and we want to maybe bring some of those people into the organisation. So social media, again, is a great way to make that connection because that's how you're going to get the younger people involved, is through social media. So one of the benefits is that it's very low cost, sometimes no cost, and it gives you a chance to access a major portion of your audience. As I said before, it's the best opportunity in history to make a really big impact and talk to a lot of people at once. And it's the best opportunity we've had because that's not been available to anybody before without a massive amount of spending involved. The best thing about social media really, and what you want to be harnessing it for, is creating two-way conversations, because unlike the days where it was all about one-way communication on radio or TV or in newspapers where you're just sort of broadcasting what you have, social media offers the opportunity to have real two-way conversations with the people who are your stakeholders. So whether that's volunteers or supporters in the community or the beneficiaries of all the things that you're doing, community partners, corporate sponsors, whoever you're trying to talk to, instead of just broadcasting things at them, you can actually be creating two-way conversations now. And that's the real power of social media. And it's what you really, really want to be trying to harness the most. And the other opportunity, of course, is that you build a community around your cause and your mission. And that's never been possible before without a lot of money and a lot of time. So it offers two great opportunities in terms of two-way conversations and actually building a community of people who care about the same thing that you care about. As I said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So connecting them with your mission and your cause is really important, and social media can help you do that. So there are lots of reasons. When we're talking about why social media, it's not just about the benefits, it's about, okay, as a group, you've decided you want to be on social media, so now you need to work out why. What do I want from social media? As a Neighbourhood Watch group, what am I hoping to get out of this? And there's lots and lots of reasons that you would be on social media, but they essentially fall into three categories. The first of them is nurture. So that means we're talking about deepening the relationships that you already have with your current volunteers, your current supporters within the community, your current community partners, your current sponsors, if you have corporate sponsors that you have available to you. So it's about serving the people that you already serve in a deeper way. So having those two-way conversations with them and talking about issues that are important to them. So that's the first type of, the first of three main reasons that people would be on social media. The second is grow. This is an important one because it's not just about serving your current community. You have to be thinking ahead to who else are we trying to get in. So it's about understanding what kind of people you're trying to attract and using social media to do that. So that just comes to knowing what kind of things that they're going to want to talk about or what kind of questions you can ask them. And you do that, of course, by getting together with your group and saying, okay, who do we have with us now and who are we trying to attract? And what do we need to do, maybe that's different to what we are doing? What else do we need to do, and how can we put that into social media to attract that audience of people that we're looking for? So you want to be nurturing the people you've got and also looking at growing your audience as well. The third type of reason that usually people get on social media or organisations get on social media is recruit. And it's not specifically recruiting, there could be a better terminology. In business terms, it would be this is the selling part. So this is where you're trying to, if you're a business, you'd be trying to sell a product. But when it comes to non-profits, of course, you're trying to recruit, whether that's recruit new volunteers, create more support in the community in general, whether you're trying to bring in some more corporate sponsorships for different events or different programs that you have, whether you are trying to bring in new community partners that you want to partner up with to, distribute the funds that you're raising. So there's many types of recruiting, but that's essentially your sales part of, what you're doing on social media. So once you've decided and you've said, okay, this is why we want to be on social media and you've created a purpose, obviously you want to be looking at who is it for? And that really relates to who are you trying to speak to? And again, you're looking at all of those different groups of people. So there's going to be different things that they're interested in, which is why you want to be breaking down who are we talking to. And it can't just be everybody, because if you're trying to talk to everyone, you'll end up speaking to nobody. So sitting down and actually thinking about this question and really understanding who you've got currently, what they're interested in, and who you're trying to attract and what they're interested in is super important for working out what you want to say on social media to create those two-way conversations, because otherwise it can just be kind of a blast of this is what we're telling you and people aren't really interested. So it's one of the other big opportunities on social media is that it's a good testing ground because it's very immediate. So you don't have to do something and then wait months to find out how it went. You put a post up in your group or on your Facebook page, for example, and you know pretty quickly whether people are interested in what you're talking about. So it's a really good testing ground. So this isn't set in stone. You don't have to say, okay, these are the people and this is what we're going to say, and then it's set in stone. You test it, you see what they like, and then you adjust and give them more of what they want and less of what they don't. But just having that conversation in your group at the beginning is a good place to kind of understand exactly what you're hoping to get out of being on social media in the first place. So some of the groups you might be looking at attracting or nurturing, of course, would be the volunteers that you've already got and any future volunteers you're hoping to get. You've got your community supporters. They might not directly be volunteers, but they do support you within the community by being advocates or helping out occasionally, doing different things around the community, or just being very positive about what you're doing when they're talking to other people within the community. You've got your beneficiaries, so the people who are actually benefiting from the services that you're creating with the funds that you're raising and the programs that you're running in the community. Those are an important group of people, obviously, to find out and get feedback from as well, and social media is a great opportunity to do that. Then, of course, you've got community partners and corporate sponsors, and they will have different expectations of what they might want from you on social media, but it's, again, a good opportunity to get feedback from them, find out how they can help have those conversations and connect them with your beneficiaries and your volunteers. So creating that community on social media is a huge opportunity to get all of those people together that you might not otherwise have in any capacity. There might never be an event where you're going to get every one of those people together, but if you're creating communities on social media, you've got the opportunity of having people interacting and offering different perspectives on what you're doing and giving you really valuable feedback on that. So we'll go through the groups a little bit one by one. Your volunteers or advocates in the community, you want to just have a look at what do you know about the people who currently fall into this group. You know, and it's your basic stuff like age, where they live, are they working, are they retired, like just flesh out as much as you actually know about the people that are already in those groups for you so that you can work out what kind of things they might be interested in. And then you just want to look at, okay, do we want more of the same people or are we trying to attract a new crowd? Like I said, you might have mostly retired people who are your volunteers currently, but maybe you want to get some more people who are sort of in the under 35 category, and they might be mothers with young kids who at home who aren't at school yet, who might have a few hours in the day or the week that they can spare. So just think about, if it's someone different that you're trying to attract, you're going to be wanting to create different content and have different conversations with those people than the groups of people that you've currently got. So once you actually look at it, it makes it much easier to create planning because you've got all those groups identified and how to think about what kind of things they're going to be interested in. So that's your volunteers and advocates. Of course, then you've got your sponsors and community partners. So same thing. You may have none. There'll be groups that don't have any sponsorships or any partnerships currently. They might be brand new groups, but it's a good opportunity to have the discussion. Who are we looking for? Who are we targeting? What kind of things might they want from us in terms of a conversation on social media? How can we attract those people and how can we interact with them and get feedback and inform, you know, what happens with us going forward? So it's another place that you can look for those partnerships and have those conversations. So once you've decided whether you're trying to get more of the same people or you're trying to get new groups of people and who those groups of people are, you obviously need to start thinking about where are they hiding online. And obviously there's different platforms you can look at and different places on those platforms that you can find them. So that's really what it's about. What platforms might we find them on? So is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? There's a million of them, you know, and don't fall for the shiny object syndrome. There's always a new one popping up every day. Somebody mentioned TikTok to me during the break. And, you know, I work in social media for a living. I don't even follow half of these platforms. So don't feel the need to sort of be everywhere all at once. Just pick one and really focus on getting good at that one and cracking the code on that platform. And then if you want to attract new people, then you can expand to other platforms. But my biggest recommendation is, you know, don't get shiny object syndrome. Put your blinkers on, pick one platform and get really, really good at that one platform. So the things you want to think about when you're looking at platforms is not just age. You might be looking at, you know, what's the current age group and are we trying to attract younger or older participants? But the other thing, of course, is if you're talking about business owners or corporate sponsorships or community partners, where are we going to find them? Are they on the same place as other people are? So I'll give you a quick run through. I've chosen 3 platforms to talk about because these are kind of the 3 main ones that you might be looking at. So Facebook, obviously, most of you will already be on Facebook. And, you know, is Facebook dying? Who knows? There's lots of conversation about that in the media and they keep having all of these, you know, hacking scandals and people's information being given away and what have you. But Facebook is still the mothership when it comes to social media. Everyone in the world practically is on Facebook. They have 1.47 billion daily users on Facebook. So if your audience exists, they will be on Facebook. So it's still a pretty safe bet in terms of where you're going to spend your time on social media and get a really good return. If we're talking age groups, it's best for the over 35s because the kids have discovered that we all know about Facebook, so now it's very uncool and they've moved on. So if you're looking for that age group, you'll find them on Facebook. Then you've got Instagram. I know, as I said, I do all the social media for Neighbourhood Watch Australasia, so I see that there are a few, and the number is growing, there are a few Neighbourhood Watch groups on Instagram, which is good to see. But there's still a lot of room for people to come on board because there's a lot of neighbourhood watch groups that aren't. And as I mentioned, if you're trying to attract people that are in that under 35s category, this is probably where you're going to find them. So it might seem a bit scary. A lot of people sort of look like this when I say Instagram, and it can be a bit scary. But if you have got really good at using Facebook and you're ready to venture out, it would be my recommendation for a secondary platform to be looking at if you're trying to get that younger crowd. That's where you'll find them. And I'm going to get you to do something at the end of this talk that will help you if you're looking at Instagram, because Instagram's a really visual platform, so you need to get really good at taking good photos to share on Instagram. That's really what it's about. It's getting people's attention with photos. So I'm going to get you all to stand up at the end and take a selfie with me so that we can post it on social media about this event. I know there's lots of photos happening over here before, which is great, but you have to get good at selfies, because the one thing I will tell you, across the board from what I've seen actually, and this doesn't just apply to you guys, it's pretty much everyone who's in business or in a non-profit on social media, we need to see you. We need to see more of you on your accounts, because people want to know who they're connecting with. So, you know, there's lots of great group photos, but what I want to see from you all is some really good selfies. I want to start seeing you on your accounts, on your Facebook pages, in your Facebook groups, because that's who your audience wants to see and connect with. They want to know who they're dealing with. It builds trust really quickly. Okay, now the third platform, which maybe isn't even one that's on your radar, is LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is like Facebook for business. So it's all business all the time. So you don't want to be on LinkedIn if you're just trying to grow a community group, but it's a fantastic place to find your corporate sponsors and your community partners. LinkedIn has got, I think, 60 million plus now of like CEO level or very high level business decision makers who are on there daily. So they use it just like Facebook. So if you're trying to make business connections for sponsorships and different things in your community, LinkedIn is really worth having a look into. And there's lots of great information out there in Google land on how to use LinkedIn. It's not that difficult. It just can be a bit scary when you're looking at it as like, oh my God, a new platform, she wants me to learn something else. So have a look at LinkedIn if you're trying to get some business sponsorships or community partners, that type of thing. It's a fantastic place to be looking. So now we've talked about why we're on social media and we've worked out a purpose, we've looked at who we're trying to talk to, we've found out where they're hiding, and so we've worked out what platforms. Now we need to talk about how are we going to connect with those people, because that's the really important part. As I said, it represents an opportunity to have a two-way conversation, but you have to be the conversation starter a lot of the time. So how do we connect with those people? You've really got 5 kinds of content that you want to be looking to create, and that's educational, inspirational, entertaining, questioning or research-based, and then calls to action. So I'll break those down for you and give you a quick run through. I don't want this to get too technical and boring for you, but I just want to give you a quick breakdown of that. So educational is things like sharing of stories, you know, stories of people that have been helped by one of your programs, stories of how an event came together, stories from your volunteers of why they joined your organisation in the first place and what they've gotten out of it. So find the stories in those groups to share, and that becomes your educational content. Obviously, there's things like safety tips and how-tos and checklists, all that kind of thing. That's your educational content. And that will appeal to many of those groups of people that you're trying to attract. Then you've got inspirational. Obviously, stories come in here again. So inspiring stories of how people have been helped and what happened for them. And it could be as simple as an inspirational quote that is somehow related to what you're doing. There's lots of great places to find quotes online and share those. Just lift people up, give them a positive experience of interacting with you for that day on social media, and then move on. It doesn't always have to be deep and meaningful on social media. We just want to create a variety of things that people are there for. It will keep people interested for you. So then you've got entertaining. So that can be obviously stories as well. It could be, you know, often for the Neighbourhood Watch Australasia page on Facebook, I'll post a Friday Funny, and we'll just find a joke that's sort of related loosely to something we're doing in the community and post that. Gets a lot of interaction. So it doesn't always have to be serious, you know, just give people a laugh. It still gives them a purpose for interacting with you for that day, and it might just be to have a laugh that day. It doesn't have to be always learning something or always asking them to do something. Questions are fantastic. These are like a really overlooked thing. This is where you get to understand your audience really very well. You ask questions on your social media profiles and create that interaction. You get great feedback from your audience. You can find out what they're enjoying about Neighbourhood Watch, what they want you guys to be looking at doing, what kind of events they might want. There's so many possibilities for questions, and that's a really good one that isn't used that often, but it could be. It's a great one to use, and it doesn't obviously take a lot of preparation in terms of making that content. It doesn't require fantastic visuals. You know, it's not hard to produce. And then the most important one probably is calls to action. So if you're a business, this would be your sales section. So calls to action don't always have to be recruiting or, you know, sales related. It can be things like, please share this post. It can be, please answer this question. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree. And the reason you want to have a call to action on pretty much everything you post on social media is about training your audience to take that action with you. Because the biggest thing that you need to remember about social media is it's not a standalone solution, it's the invitation. You want to take them somewhere else, preferably onto an email list, so that you can then keep in contact with these people and find them again. Because the thing to remember with social media is, as fantastic as it is, and obviously I'm a big fan, it's rented space. So all of the effort you're going to and all of the followers that you've created, if Facebook changes their algorithm tomorrow, or God forbid they shut their doors, you've lost all those people. So you want to be using social media as the invitation to go somewhere else with you. So wherever you can, try and get them to, if you've got a website or you've created an email list, a mailing list, get them onto your email list so that you can keep contact with them. Get them to sign up for your newsletters through social media. So it's not like the direct selling channel, it's the invitation to do something else with you. And having those little calls to action on each time you post something just trains your audience to do that, to take that action and make that click, or click the link and go somewhere else and sign up for something. Okay, so I've bored you with all of the technical stuff now, but what I really wanted to get you, if you get nothing else from what I've said today, if you only take one thing away, I want it to be this. The most important thing that you can do on social media is tell stories. And as I said, it connects beautifully with that last presentation, because I don't know about you, it was really interesting hearing about the painting, but watching the story about what it all means and how it unfolded was really powerful. And that's what stories do. They connect you emotionally with a piece of information, which can be otherwise very, very dry. If you read a statistic, like Neighbourhood Watch is a great example. There's lots of crime prevention that happens, and you can post lots of statistics about how we've reduced crime by X number of %. Yeah, okay, it's fine. But if you tell me a story about one person that you've helped in a direct way and what that did for them, that is so much more powerful. You know, facts and figures are great and they might shock us for a minute, but they will never ever inspire any action, because people forget very quickly, whereas people will remember a story. So if I cannot get you to do anything else from today, I want every single one of you in the room to start collecting stories from everyone that you come in contact with that has any capacity in Neighbourhood Watch. And that goes all the way from Maria down. It's got to start at the top. So collect stories and share those stories. You know, feed them to me if you want them on social media. I'll happily take all of them. But start using them on your own social media accounts and within your groups, because the more you can become a storyteller, the quicker you're going to connect with your audience, and the stronger of the emotional connection will be, and the more action you'll be able to get them to take. Because we remember stories for years, way more than we remember any other kind of information. One thing that Wayne said that really stuck out for me was he was talking about artwork as an engagement piece, and then he told the story of the artwork. So he beautifully demonstrated exactly what I'm talking about, is the power of storytelling to engage with your audience and connect with your audience in a really, really powerful way. So it's all about engagement, conversation and consultation were his words, and it actually is perfect for what I'm talking about with storytelling. So if you get nothing else from what I said today, I really want you to start connecting with your stories and using them on your social media. So as I said, this is just to reinforce it again, it all comes back to this one statement. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And a story is the most powerful way to connect them with why you do something. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. So I hope that you got something from that. But before we go, I'm getting the stand up again too. Before we go, as I said, I want you all to, with me, take a selfie right now Just get some audience in the background, and then I want you guys to post it on your social media accounts, wherever that happens to be. So I'm going to go first.
There you go. Got it? Come on, Michelle.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Now you're on. So I want selfies from everyone, and I want to see them posted by the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I didn't bore you to death, and I hope you got something out of that you can take away for the day. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks very much, Michelle.
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you.